advised, the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Everything we listen to, everything we watch, everything we read, everything we wear. Behind all our favorite things, there is an author, an artist, an inventor. Genuine, real, original. Pushing the limits of imagination and innovation for our comfort, our enjoyment. Making life interesting. Enjoy their efforts. Respect them. They help shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Intellectual Property. I'm your host, Attorney Sarah Jane Sugitan. Tonight, we have here on the set the chairman of the Organisasyon ng mga Pilipinong mga awit, Ms. Mitch Valdez, and the president of the Book Development Association of the Philippines, Mr. Lirio P. Sandoval, to talk to us about what else? Piracy. Good evening, Ms. Mitch Valdez and Mr. Lirio Sandoval.
Good evening.
Ayan, so Ms. Mitch, thank you for making it
For
to our
running
show.
here.
Yes, for running here. I bet you stopped traffic earlier.
That's okay.
on
This
your way here.
advocacy has been going on since time immemorial, ever since the first pirate invaded the Philippines.
The first pirate, around when? The first pirate, oo, yung mga yan. So, yes, this is a
Ganun rin
centuries
pala ang
old.
story, ano?
Oo nga, hijacking ito,
Yes,
kumbaga.
yes.
Well, Quiapo and the other notorious malls, 168, Makati Cinema Square, and a host of other malls were named by the U.S. Trade Representative for their, trade in piracy and counterfeiting. Have you been to these malls ever? Mr. Sandoval, have you shopped at Green Hills?
I think we'll have to add something to that. You know, the University Belt area
Oh,
is
no!
is the prime area for photocopying of books, for
Photocopying.
piracy, for selling of pirated books.
Pag photocopying po, it's considered book piracy already.
Oh yes, definitely. It's a violation of the copyright, and any violation of the copyright, I think, is punishable under the law. So,
And what is your association doing about this piracy
Well,
in the University Belt?
Book Development Association of the Philippines, we organize this Filipinas Collecting Society mainly to monitor and to be able to collect something from those who are photocopying books. You know. I'm also the treasurer of the Filipinas Collecting Society, and it's 2-year-old, and we're hoping to bag our first contract anytime soon.
First
you know.
contract. So, first collection din
First
po
collection,
ito.
that's
if
what
ever.
I mean, yes.
Okay, so it's a 2-year-old collecting society,
Society, yes.
and your first collection is coming up soon.
Oh, yes.
Coming up
Hopefully
very
the
soon.
next semester.
In the next semester. Yeah, preferably in the University Belt area.
Yeah, we are concentrating first on the university area because that's where most of the photocopying of books are being
Oo nga.
Oo
done.
nga, talamak ang
The
photocopying.
University Belt area, and you know, the neighbors here, even UP, Ateneo,
The educational institutions.
wherever the universities are, there
There
are
is.
illegal photocopiers.
There is a Xerox machine.
Yes,
There is
and
a
very
Xerox
cheap,
machine.
and very cheap at that.
Very cheap.
But
Yan.
I guess it's because some say they are not aware nga that it is illegal to photocopy because they think that it's the book is out there, and then low budget production yung
Yeah, and
yung school.
Yes, and the worst part of it is the teachers, the professors who should know that photocopying is illegal. Is they themselves are not aware of it.
They're the
They're the ones
advocates of
telling the
photocopying.
students, so, okay, go to the shop. Your assignment is on the shop, pages 3 to 10.
Dapat po baguhin natin yung policy na yan siguro for schools
Yeah,
and
I think we need the cooperation of everybody here. You know, I mean,
Kasi nung
really
college ako,
make
ganun
do.
din
Yes, even lawyers. You know, I was talking to some lawyers, and
Oh, no.
where do they do their
Sige,
photocopying? In the beauty parlor at the back of
Oo nga
UST.
naman.
because
Meron na
upfront, you're gonna be get caught.
Oh, kasi
they
naman
go at
yung
the
mga
back of the
law
beauty
books,
parlor.
napakamahal
Law
niya.
books.
tsaka
Medical books are the
makakapal.
worst.
Medical
books,
books.
yes. So yan, one of the...
It's very
And,
very pricey.
And another very pirated commodity is music and
Yes.
movies. So what is your position on that? Ms.
Well,
Mitchell?
I'm beginning to be terribly sympathetic towards the plight nga of the photocopying. Understandably, because these books are really very costly. So, ang solusyon yata dyan, yung Department of Education ng pricing din ng availability. But as far as music and movies are concerned, I think it's of the same consciousness ng Filipino na if it's out there, it's free. It's a free for all. Just because it is available. And then, the excuse is, mayayaman naman sila eh. Ako hindi mayaman. So, I deserve to buy bootleg DVDs or bootleg music. Actually, libre naman ang music. When you listen to the radio, you can record it. When you download from your internet cafes, there are siguro some that can be downloaded. But it's when you buy the bootleg DVD or CD copy is when you are supporting and enabling criminals, mafia,
Correct.
cartels, all these other groups who are not even Filipinos.
Yes.
Yun na nga masakit pinayaban pa natin yung mga syndicates of other countries
Alam niyo
by
po,
buying.
yes, that's very correct what Ms. Mitch Valdez was saying, because according to the report of the U.S. Trade Representative, the money or the profits that come from pirated activities go to finance syndicates, no? So syndicates, and they're involved not just in piracy, but it's a money laundering business. So it's a vicious cycle, so to speak. So ang statement nga ng US Trade Representative, piracy is a job killer and it's also a business killer, and it's the same thing that's happening to our local industries at the moment. And but something can be done to address that, and one of that is awareness generations, as you said.
Yes,
Start
we're
early.
cooperating and asking help from the Intellectual Property Office regarding dissemination of information. I would like to advocate that property, respect for one's property does not come from, when you do television slogans or whatever na wag tangkilikin ng, fake, etc., etc. Respect for one's property is ingrained when you're young. Respect
That's
for
right.
other people's toys, other people's
Clothes,
clothes.
mobile phone.
Oo, but apparently there is a generation or two, because I've lived through how many generations, where one does not respect other people's property, as seen by the behavior also regarding trash throwing.
Oo nga.
Yung mga nagtatapon ka ng basura out of your car window, for example, you do not respect the property of that place where you are. You throw garbage, so it's something that has to be reoriented and re-educated in school level pa lang. Para paglaki mo, when you grow up, you respect artistic property, you respect other people's ownership, which is what it is. It's music and movies, etc. is the ownership of other people. And if they didn't put it together, you wouldn't have anything to listen to, and you wouldn't have anything to watch. Di ba?
Yes, you wouldn't be entertained. So.
You will not be entertained, you will not be inspired, because music is not only entertaining, it's very inspiring, it's a motivator. All these things. And when you, ika nga ng Koleyala, make bastos, the ownership, by not, they're not asking for millions, they're asking for a certain respectable remuneration by just buying original.
Oo nga, may point po kayo sinabi nyo kanina na ang dahilan is price. You're saying, I'll get a better deal if I buy the pirated copy and it's more available. that doesn't really justify murder, for example, or drug addiction, much less theft of intellectual property.
Yeah,
Di po
you're
ba,
right.
Mr.
And
Sandoval?
of course, price is a consideration, but you know, the difference in quality, you know, you have to look also for quality. If you listen to the original,
It's
well,
different.
it's different, you know, it's always the best.
Or if you
Oh,
want a
it's always
collection or things like that. I will understand a certain economic level that really has no access to original works. But we're talking about a percentage of middle class and even upper class buying public who buys illegal bootleg only because nga it's parang it's there, you know, they go to the malls, nakikita ko sa isang area sa Green Hills, linoload sa SUV.
Oh my God, hakot, hoarding!
Hakot, you know.
So, actually,
Nakakahiya, honestly, nakakahiya.
Sabi ko, you don't have reason to do that, ha? You can afford to buy.
Ayan, SUV
we're going back to that problem of
Yes.
the values that have been inculcated in
Yes,
our
it's
people.
values,
It's really values that is, you know, you're not talking about money, it's values already.
Yes.
We're also
you
talking
know,
about
what,
money.
yeah, but what Mitch was saying earlier is, no, from the start, you know, in the
From
school
the
or even at
start.
home,
Yes.
you'll have to inculcate the value of respect for property.
At saka gusto ko yun yung sinabi niya na good manners, you don't throw your trash
Yeah,
outside the
that's,
car. I
Yes,
think
Yeah,
unfortunately, I see that from the SUVs again in the middle of Ortigas Avenue, yung mga styrofoam na they throw out yung talaga. I want to go down and talagang, uy,
oh, don't do that, it's bad.
you know, where did you study?
yes, that
Oo, and then your children see it, so again, down the line, they think it's okay. But on another level, this is a more, how do you call this, a deeper level, the economics of it. Kasi, if our government or our countrymen could only understand that buying original generates a lot of income for the businesses, which in turn flows down to the employees, then that's also another aspect for an incentive baga to this is 120, this is 3 for 50. Maybe I should buy the one for 120. Kasi you can wait for the sale. Ang dami-dami naman sales na bumababa dyan. I see a lot of sales. And so, it's just a matter of understanding when you buy this one DVD or this one CD, ang daming moral, ethical, economic transgressions that happen.
May domino effect po eh.
Yes.
Kumbaga, as you were saying na when you buy a pirated copy and that's just one person making a purchasing decision.
Yes.
It multiplies, may multiplier effect. The government has no revenue, the artists have no royalties, and then you kill the industry. Diba?
The industry
And,
sinks.
The industry sinks. Yeah.
Again, I think on the implementation level, if we are successful, like Phil's Cups somehow are able to collect already, and if we do also, let's say for Phil calls, we start collecting from the students. That's the only time they will realize that in the first place we should have paid for it already.
Yes.
And
Sabagay.
right now we're trying to convince the university administrators just to do that, because we can just do it with one university. And the students, they know they'll be paying 100 pesos.
You're
per
talking about
semester.
licensing to the
Licensing,
use of the work.
of these books.
Yes.
So when they start paying, I think that's the only time they will realize that there is value to it. You know? Because right now, nobody's collecting these supposedly royalties. So, you know, it wouldn't go into to their mind that, you know, it's something that is free. But if you start collecting, no matter how much the amount is, even 10 pesos or 20 pesos, then that's the only time they will realize that you have to pay something to the authors, to the writers,
The
For
value.
Oh, doon pala magsisink in.
Value for
magsisink
money.
in.
Value for
So,
money.
you know,
Oo.
we've got to start somewhere, and hopefully we can do it in the next few months.
Oo nga. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking piracy, not only in the book industry, but also in the music and performing arts industry. And our guests are Ms. Mitch Valdez, chairman of the Organisasyon ng mga Pilipino mga awit, and president of the Book Development Association of the Philippines. So when we return, we're going to talk about solutions and what we can do to help eliminate the notion of starving artists and starving authors when we return here on Intellectual Property.
Everything we listen to, everything we watch, everything we read, everything we wear. Behind all our favorite things, there is an author, an artist, an inventor. Genuine, real, original. Pushing the limits of imagination and innovation for our comfort, our enjoyment. Making life interesting. Enjoy their efforts, respect them. They help shape our world. Everything we listen to, everything we watch, everything we read, everything we wear. Behind all our favorite things, there is an author, an artist, an inventor. Genuine, real, original. Pushing the limits of imagination and innovation for our comfort, our enjoyment. Making life interesting. Enjoy their efforts, respect them. They help shape our world.
Welcome back on Intellectual Property. You're still with me, your host, Attorney Sarah Jane Sugitan. Before we continue on with our program, I'd like to acknowledge the help of the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, the World Intellectual Property Organization, and David Salon. Anyway, joining me tonight is the chairman of the Organisasyon ng mga Pilipinong mga awit, the very well-known and multi-awarded actress, Mitch Valdez, and the president of the Book Development Association of the Philippines, Mr. Lirio Sandoval. And we're still talking about piracy. Now
Never ending.
Never ending, never ending. And kanina nga may mga questions here in the studio specifically addressed to you, Ms. Mitch. What are your views on this question?
Well, number one, I was going to say we were looking for solutions, no? And we already touched on re-education of values and respect for property, beginning pa in grade school level, high school level, so that by the time they have earning power, they will learn how to respect property. Number two, if photocopying books and if certain malls are notorious for pirated products, then we would like to call on the local government units to not raid, kasi raid, I mentioned earlier, it's just like you're swatting flies. Bubuga ka lang ng langaw, then yung langaw babalik pag alis when the raiders leave, no? As in any, I guess, situation, there is the head of the octopus and the tentacles. So, why cannot our protectors do something about getting to the head of whoever is allowing these malls and these business centers to propagate pirated products? Parang gano. That is one very basic question that I have regarding that.
Get to the head.
Get to the head, because they are stealing from the country. It goes to their own pockets, revenue that should go also to the government and government funds. So if our government is very angry with tax evaders,
All the more, mga
All
pirates.
the more.
Yes, the importers.
The head of these, groups na they should go after these people who cannot even be taxed because there are no receipts.
Oo, they're undocumented,
Undocumented,
businesses.
yes.
Tatawag
So,
nating black market.
These are the hemorrhaging economic hemorrhages. From my very simplistic layman's point of view, I am not a government. I am not, I have no business sense at all whatsoever. But it's just a logical 1 + 1 = 2. Go after the brains and get more. The money that goes to them should come back to the local government units.
Yes, Mr. Sandoval.
Well, actually, I already mentioned that there are 4 components of this problem on
Uy, I
copyright
like that.
violation,
Yes.
which I call the 4 A's. Okay.
4 A's. Yeah.
The number 1 is awareness, which we have been discussing earlier. We need to inculcate in the minds of our people that respect for property. Okay. Then there is that affordability. Well, if we could ask our manufacturers to make their price a little bit, I would say, more affordable.
More affordable.
In the case of books, foreign publishers already allow reprint of their books legally. And normally these books are being sold at 50% less than the original editions. And then, availability is a problem of distributors. If you don't have a copy of this book, let's say in Visayas or Mindanao, what do? They photocopy the ones in the library.
So, yun po yung kailangan labanan ng mga original
yes.
authors. Yes.
And mainly, this is a problem of the publishers and the
Of the
distributors.
publishers.
But the 4th one, I think, is very important again, is the action and enforcement of the laws. We've got the laws already. But as I understand it now, before we could conduct a raid, it will take months of planning. By the time that you are raiding the store, the goods are
Wala
not there
na.
anymore.
And they're back the next day.
And they're back the next
And
day,
I know that
unfortunately.
your director had that problem with some books in Cebu. We already pinpointed the place. Okay, there have been surveillance, but
On the day of the
don't
raid.
blame your director. The problem was not with him, but with the copyright owners who are abroad. We have, we're quite strict with our laws here. Since this is they call a private right, we have to get the consent of the owners, and the owners are in the States. It takes time,
So wala po kayong nakuha na consent from the book owners
Wala,
on this
wala.
particular instance.
Yeah.
So hindi po natuloy yung raid.
Hindi natuloy
Oo,
yung
kasi
raid.
raid kailangan personal
Yeah, I mean,
knowledge.
for the
yes.
lawyers, it's something that the police cannot just do. There has to be a complainant, and they should
That's
be
something that the U.S. Trade Representative pointed out. We should streamline procedures in government.
Yeah, that's right.
Para mas madaling, first of all, raid, and second of all, confiscate. Kasi kung masyadong matagal yung procedure for getting the signature, naglilik yung information eh. So, somebody
right,
gets
that's right.
tipped off, and by the time you try to prosecute someone, wala kang mahuli. But you have the evidence there.
In a way, we have to simplify our laws in this respect because it really takes time. And when I met Attorney Blanca Flor the first time, and I think 1 week or 1 month in the office, he called us, and I've got this tip. This bookstore is selling pirated books.
Ni-raid niyo po yung bookstore.
No,
Hindi,
nothing.
hindi.
Because we are not able to get the.
The warrant. Kailangan merong warrant eh. Kailangan kompleto ang documents.
So it's quite difficult, and I guess we'll have to make some changes in our laws, make it simpler to be able to conduct this raid. And your office doesn't have the power either.
Wala pong police powers na
Walang police
IPO.
powers, and we'll have to rely on the regular courts to do it, and
The regular police or police
it
force.
takes a lot of time to be able to do something about it. It's not even their priority.
Speaking of enforcement, what do you do po on behalf of Filipino music artists who meron din po ba kayong mga ganong sinusuportahan? Raids or
No,
ano? Wala. So,
We're
purely-
artists.
You don't want to be bothered with that aspect yet?
No,
Okay.
actually, it's not in the place. It's only because I guess we're just visible. But this is not the place for the artists to to advocate, because this is a producer's situation.
Like in the books
Yeah,
publishers
yeah,
naman
it
po.
could be the
Yes,
publishers, yeah.
record
Ganun pala yun.
companies and movie producers
Producers din.
who lose the revenue. And when businesses, and remember, it's a business. So if the record producers find it useless to invest, especially also with, you know, the technology available now na to produce one CD is more costly than just downloading it from
free.
then you will get the same type of entertainment, the manufactured sure formula kind of entertainment or movies, because nobody in his right mind will produce something that is risky. So you are depriving also the Filipino of the availability of food for the soul. You know, food for the soul is very, very important, because we have lost our identity already. Our souls are American Idol, Korean pop, and teleseries, which are patterned, you know, and when you listen to classical music or theatrical productions, the misperception there is that it's very expensive. You cannot buy tickets for good, beautiful concerts. So again, domino effect down the line. It is we are trying to help the producers create an industry again para mas maraming na-employ. It is not, when you watch a television show and you see the well-dressed television contract artists, that is just 0.8% of a bigger industry who have, I think, second to the overseas foreign workers are Filipino musicians, singers, and musicians. I mean, they always say go to any country and you will find a musician playing in the local clubs and in the local restaurants and bars. There is a large migration. So the solution is that we just keep trying to pound the awareness. Maybe somebody will listen na when, of course, nakamura ka na you buy a DVD or CD 3-4 50 pesos, but I think you can only listen to it for siguro 10 times before it falls apart.
It's disposable. you get what you pay for,
you know, yung mga ganon. So again, it's awareness. It's my philosophy is that if you knew that you're buying this CD is help supporting an international, hindi ang Filipino ang yumayaman po dito, international sindikato pa ang yumayaman dito. So that for me is the very sad. We have put up a collecting society, performers' rights society, to try to offset naman this situation by making it, how do you call this, by charging business establishments who use music a certain percentage of royalty already. We collect in behalf of the artist, and we are the ones who will distribute to the artist instead of sila yung magbabayad per individual.
Yeah, so that's
ganon.
easier for the establishments.
It's easier for the establishments.
And all they have to do is contact your organization.
Yes, organization. And then there are, of course, very high-level computerized technology to distribute to all the different artists who are members. They have to sign up so that we can collect for you. That is only one solution. But the very first solution is really awareness and respect for the self, respect for what you do, that your action has consequences.
Kasi we might not be able to fight the supply as we were discussing earlier. It's an
Yes.
archipelagic country and we
Right.
have people producing the pirated stuff here and importing it as well. So it's coming to the country and being produced here at the same time. So ipitin natin yung demand. If there's no demand for pirated goods, they'll close shop because as you said, hindi na profitable for them to sell this illegal counterfeit.
And make it
goods.
as difficult as possible by law enforcement harassment. I mean, if we can call on the law enforcers to harass, since they harass anyway.
The right, the power to harass, it's legal harassment.
Legal harassment.
Oo, kasi
But, you
enforcement.
know,
Look at what the software
Industry,
industry is doing. They send out letters to these establishments,
Hinaharas
especially
din
to
nila.
the
yes.
what they call this small
Businesses,
uh,
offices, mga
no small offices, and then they where you pay the internet connections.
sa internet providers.
Yeah.
mismo.
They send letters to these establishments that okay, the government or the NBI will be saturating your area. Better be sure that your
Software is
softwares are all
legal.
legal.
All legal.
Internet cafes, I mean. There are a lot of
Internet
them,
cafe.
internet cafes, because they are the ones, sometimes they're using pirated software.
Yes. I
that's-
have a friend who that
They
happened.
simply do that. They send out letters.
Nire-raid din po nila. I mean, they check on the establishment. Then,
I don't know, but I think it's quite effective.
I think you charge financially, if kunyari you are unconscious that you used pirated software, may lalabas daw sa computer mo na this is to inform you that you are on something illegal grounds, etc., etc. And we will be sending someone to collect the full payment. So which is, mahal kasi may
mahal,
penalty, may ano-ano,
So,
etc.,
mataas ang
etc.
fine.
Oh, sabi ko, so it would be nice to have a government agency to harass
magandang strategy yun.
or
kasi
to have a
effective.
to have a camera maybe doon sa mga venues of na kayo po bumibili ng
Oo, talaga may media. I think magandang partner
media
ang
harassment,
media.
di ba?
Yeah. Our producer, Mr. Harry.
Because a lot of
was
time they're
saying
also
that earlier.
ashamed of what they're buying, I'm sure.
Oo,
May
patag-
porno dyan.
Meron dyan, merong mga
Oo.
private stuff.
Oo.
And all these things could be monitored by the service providers. You could
Yes.
just
The
incorporate.
downloading po.
Yeah.
And,
They all know about these
may
things.
record somewhere.
Oh,
But
may
frankly,
record
it
yan,
is a very how do you
I,
call this horrifying situation because it is also physically dangerous when you go up against big money. There are, I think, siguro I'm just talking out of my the top of my head, a lot of blackmail situations there that can choke your business
Business.
or whatever.
Extortion.
Exactly,
Bordering on that
or
if you deal
exactly.
with this kind
I mean, it is a criminal element that has the power to be able to do this on a massive scale. Never mind the
Yes.
sari-sari store that sells, but malls?
commercial
Malls.
centers talaga. That's where they are
Oo.
available. And as you said, dapat may liability somewhere. Maybe we should put
Nobody's
pressure.
been jailed, nobody's been shut down, nobody's been,
Executed. I wag naman.
executed or
Oh.
whatever.
In the book industry, was only one person who was convicted.
Only
of book.
one?
Yeah, only one. She was pirating medical books. Okay, and he was convicted all the way to the Supreme Court, but now nobody could find her. I don't know where she is. So nobody's been jailed for it.
By the time na convict,
I don't know. I mean,
Wala naman yung
andun na
tao.
siya sa Norway.
Oh, ayun. Nako.
So,
Nakatakas. Or sa Sweden, where
Sweden.
BitTorrent used to operate. Actually, Sweden is one of the, I think it's in the watch list din ng US along with the Philippines. And the good thing about Sweden, the Swedish government is that these BitTorrent sites have now been removed from operating in Sweden kasi they used to be based in Sweden, like yung WikiLeaks, Yan, nakikita natin. And, well, the government now has offered better legal alternatives to downloading there. So, dapat siguro may mga out-of-the-box din tayo na
Right,
solution.
because we can't stop dumping everything on the government that's barely trying to keep itself afloat, diba? With all the other problems of the Philippines. But again, what I would like to stress is that it's an economic problem. If you fix this problem, I was begging the governments and the powers that be, help us make money for you, help us make money for the country, because we can make money by having a very thriving music and movie industry. You know, we can Bollywood and India.
We can be
and
the next
now
United States.
Exactly.
Hollywood,
Even
right
Korea
here.
is already thriving, and it put their country in the map. Everybody now is aware of Korea. Before, who knew Korea, you know? But I mean, you just knew it as an Asian country. But again, you know, we want to put the Philippines in the map. But the Philippines is in the map because it's become a tourist attraction.
And pirate havens.
Yes, I've seen tourist buses lined up in a certain mall, and you know, it's where the
part of
tourists
their
buy bootleg. It's part of the tour, you know,
itinerary.
They cannot buy it in their place, so they
Oh,
come to
no,
the
that's
Philippines
sad.
and buy it
Oh.
here.
We do not want to be tagged.
But they're
as
not
pirate.
made here, the products. They're made in other Asian countries.
They're
We
actually
just happen to be
imported.
the dumping
Dumping
ground. Because our borders are so loose. Para siyang strainer.
Ay, kapag hinold mo, lumalabas pa rin yung...
What you were telling us earlier, I think the customs people would have something, you know, they could do something about this piracy goods
That enter the borders.
that enter the borders.
Yes,
Because
correct.
in
We have
these,
no
I know,
borders.
It's 7,100.
but I'm sure it comes through this big ports in Manila.
Right.
Of course, those coming from Malaysia, you don't know.
I was so shocked to find out that we even illegally people siphon off from shipping oils.
Oh no.
The fishing boats,
Yes.
they come at night and then they connect to the big
The
oil
tankers.
tankers, and we steal oil.
May pirate. Ano ba yan? Lahat ng klase ng pagnanakaw.
Yes, sabi ko
Ay,
nga,
nako.
lagyan na lang ng sharks lahat ng seawaters.
Why not? Baka effective yun. Ayan. So,
But it's really a problem, and I hope the televiewers or the whoever it is, I hope you make a decision to be part of the solution by
Ayan.
not supporting this wave
yes,
of
this wave, this
criminality.
criminality. Yes, correct. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Mitch Valdez of the Organisasyon ng mga Pilipino mga Awit, and Mr. Lirio Sandoval from the Book Development Association of the Philippines, talking to you about piracy and warning you and begging you, please have some respect for all of us, for yourself and for your fellow artists. Buy original, and if it's too expensive for you, wait for the
Wait
sale.
for the sale.
Wait for the sale. All right. So thank you for joining us
Thank
this
you,
evening,
thank
and we
you.
hope to have you again in future activities of the
Yes.
intellectual property.
More advocacy.
Yeah. Oh no, dapat.
Everything we listen to, everything we watch, everything we read, everything we wear. Behind all our favorite things, there is an author, an artist, an inventor. Genuine, real, original. Pushing the limits of imagination and innovation for our comfort, our enjoyment. Making life interesting. Enjoy their efforts. Respect them. They help shape our world.